So today I'm going to share a little bit of this book here. I did finish it, God's Dwelling Place by John Essex. And it is a tremendous book. I got to the end part here and it's just so encompassing when you think of God's love through Christ for the whole of creation, but especially of believers. We have a celestial calling and it encompasses everything. When you think about our head, who is our brother, Christ, and we as being part of his body, God will complete everything, the whole of the universe through us, through the ecclesia, which is the body of Christ, with Christ as our head. And it takes in a massive scope. The breadth and length and depth and height. It's just so powerful. But John Essex, tremendous writer. But in his pamphlet, The Breadth and Length and Depth and Height, Brother E.H. Clayton, who is another tremendous writer, writes of these 4 terms of extension. Do they not figure the grandeur of God's dwelling place to which the saints are thus connected and also intimate and inclusive of the ultimate results of God? Truly we are, for the outcome of his transcendent love. The fruit of this economy, distinct as it is not merely for our blessing, but for God's glory in his universe. This achievement God is fashioning by his power, directed by his love. The measurements of the physical dwelling places of God, the tabernacle, the temples, and also the holy city, are all given in finite terms and are confined to breadth, length, and height. Here, in describing this spiritual dwelling place of God, a 4th dimension is added. In no direction can we go to find exclusion from this dwelling place, nor is there any distance to which we can go to escape from it, since all the dimensions are now infinite, without any limits whatsoever. Not that any of God's creatures will wish to escape from his all-embracing love, for God's homing in each and all will bring them joy and gladness beyond measure and fulfill the desires of their hearts as well as his. The ultimate attainment, God's dwelling place in spirit. It's just so powerful. To dwell on these things. These are the things that we are to dwell on, the spiritual things which are of God and above, where Christ is next to God right now. These are the dwelling places that I love to be in spirit, and we should all love that as believers in the body of Christ. The ecclesia, which is Christ's body, is his complement, by which the whole universe is to be served, and through which all in heaven and on earth are to receive the blessings of the conciliation, bringing about reconciliation, because conciliation is one-sided peace. God is at peace right now with all mankind, but soon to be reconciled to his whole creation through Christ and the body of Christ, which is his complement. In the glory of the new creation and in the righteousness of the new humanity, the ecclesia, which is the body of Christ, will be functioning to display God's grace to all and to everything in the universe, and all will come to realize the vastness of his love and share in the right of access to his presence. The power that is and will be operating in the ecclesia is from the one who is able to do super excessively above all that we are requesting or apprehending. But it is a power that God will delight to employ to the uttermost, for it will bring glory to himself throughout all the generations of the eon of the eons, which is that last, vast, long eon, which will bring about reconciliation, that God may be all in all, and completely satisfying blessings to all his creatures. And some notes on God's dwelling place, for which we quoted in an earlier chapter, and we cannot do better than to quote further. Brother Alan Reed writes, staunchness with power and strength rooted and grounded in love, to grasp the dimensions of God's dwelling place in spirit, and indeed required by each member of the ecclesia, which is the body of Christ, and his complement For this is the ultimate with which will embrace every kindred in the heavens and on the earth. There's an inclusiveness expressed in the terms used, every kindred, entire building, and entire complement, that compass not only the creatures of the earth, but also that which is in the heavens. All is to be headed up in the Christ, both that in the heavens and that on the earth. Ephesians 1:10. This is greater by far than the Israel of God, and greater than the ecclesia within whose individual members God's Spirit now makes its home. This views even a wider range than God's tabernacling with mankind in the new earth. This is the reconciliation of all through Christ, whether those on the earth or those in the heavens. Colossians 1:20. This is God all in all. 1 Corinthians 15:28. God's dwelling place in all in spirit. This is the goal of God's desires, in which is perceived the glory of his achievements and the reason for all his operations in the furtherance of his purpose. This is all we know and all we need to know, for this is the topmost pinnacle of divine revelation.